What up, y'all? Welcome to the Wellness Hustle, Fearless Skills of Entrepreneurship. And it's your girl, Coach K, and I appreciate y'all so much for tuning in. Before we even get started, I'm gonna ask you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the follow button, the favorite button, wherever you are listening, whether you are listening on your audio platforms or you are seeing my beautiful face here on YouTube. Make sure that you subscribe so you do not miss another episode, all right? So if you are watching via YouTube, you see I'm not here by myself. I'll allow my guest to introduce herself. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, I am Marsha Evans. Thank you so much for allowing me to be on your podcast. Really appreciate it, Coach K. I am a licensed professional counselor, and I am somebody that just really helps people navigate life, finding a balance, what that looks like. And everybody it looks different for everybody. So I am the person that people come to and that I help get them where they want to go.
And I appreciate you for being here. We had a conversation prior, so I'm super excited to dive into some things when it comes to entrepreneurship, thrill, skills, and especially with us women. I wanted this platform to be exclusively for us because I don't feel like that there's enough conversation talking about not just the good, but also kind of the bad, the slip up, the reroute, the realignment and stuff like that. And I know in your field, you kind of work with a little bit of all of that. So please share with my audience a little bit more about what you do.
Yeah, so I've been in business for lifestyle for 14 years. I became an entrepreneur when it wasn't cool to be an entrepreneur, and it was real lonely. My first business was educational consulting, helping people with the college process, and then I started a business in China, and then I decided to open my own private practice for mental health. And so it's no joke, it could be really lonely. And, from admin work to connecting to networking to, just not having friendships and being friends with people that understand your grind, because they might have a 9 to 5, and it's no knock towards those people, but it just could be really lonely. And not until recently have I actually, maybe the last maybe almost 5 years, that I've changed the approach of I need people. Before it was I didn't want to give my baby up, which was my business, to somebody else. I didn't trust them, right? It's almost like not when somebody has a child and they don't want to give their child up, put their child into daycare. It's the same thing that I experienced. And it wasn't until my baby, my business became basically like pre-adolescence, like 11 years old, that I was like, oh, I need help. I need people to help me. And so since I've been able to really allow people to come in, I've seen my business explode in different areas that I wouldn't have unless I asked for business coaches, asked for mentors, started really connecting with people. And I just put my head down and I grind, and I know how to grind. But one of the things I had to learn about myself is in order to get where I want to really go, I have to have people on my team, and I have to have people to check me and hold me accountable and see the things that are in me that I might be sitting on because I was my worth.
Let me tell you, that was me a year ago, right? Because, and like you said, you touched on so many things that I resonate with, because when you start something, it's so late. You're like, I don't need nobody to help me with this. I got this. I can do it. My vision is clear. I know what I want. But in all actuality, I know what I want, but I didn't know how to get there.
Right.
We get in our own way, and we do that on a personal level too. When it comes to being supported, it's hard for us to open up, right? And I even love what you said about people being like-minded. We did need to have like-minded people around us. I was an entrepreneur up until 4 years ago. So before that, I didn't, people had no business. Oh, okay, great. And I wouldn't give it a second thought. But when I made that transition, there were a lot of people that dropped onto my life because I now was thinking with an entrepreneur mindset, and other aspects as well. But I did need that supportive people that were like-minded. So I really started, getting with other coaches and networking, not just for them for we to hire them, but to be supported, and getting in those communities. And that's something that you started doing as well, just trying to find your tribe. Because, we can't just say, oh, you won't be my tribe, you won't be my tribe. We gotta do a little vetting, you know what I'm saying? But that's something that you did have to go about, building your tribe.
Yeah. So just being in different, growing up and being in different organizations, I'm a chameleon, so I can change my colors, and not in a way of like I'm sneaky or whatever, but I'm a chameleon, and I've always been able to change my colors. And a lot of times people don't know my base color because I might go to the red people, right? And I have the traits of the red people, and so what I had to be real with was, Marsha, you got to show your base color. And then to show your base color, then you're going to attract those people who have the same base color. And I had to be real, and I had to talk how I talked with my really good friends. And one of the things I had to start doing, in my sessions with my clients, I really am Marsha. So I might be like, what the fuck you doing? Like, I am very real. And so one of the things I had to realize is, in order to find your tribe, you got to be you. And so my initials is ME. So it's like M to the E, like and if I'm not me, then I'm not going to find my tribe. And so that was like something I really had to have conversations with myself of, yeah, I could go over here, and yes, they may be making millions of dollars, but when I speak my mission, my life's mission of what I'm doing in this lifetime, if it's not resonating and if they think that it's voodoo or craziness, right, then that's not my tribe. I don't care how much money that, they're making. And so what's for me is for me. And so I really had to go in different places, networking or whatever, and really just say, hey, Marsha, you're going to be you. And if people are going to think something's wrong with you or awkward, then that's not your people.
Or you
Yes. And so what I started doing was just doing that. And then I have to be real with you. Once I started doing that, even in the last year, I've found my tribe of women in a way that I'm like, oh, it's that. Where were these people back in the day? Well, it's like, oh my gosh, if I would have gotten this from the jump, I would be in places that I want to be in, in a couple years. So I'm just like, wow, that I had to start loving up on me, and I had to start realizing my most authentic self is okay. Hiding. And so I just have to say that, like, the women in particular that are in my tribe that I've connected with, I feel like I've known them for 20 plus years, and I'm like, oh, and I had to start loving up on me and start really knowing that I have the ingredients. I just have to show people my recipe card. And once I do that, I'm like, oh snap, we got the same recipe. You have the same ingredients. Oh, hi, come on, why not? Yes.
love it. Girl, let me tell you, you touched on the key thing to me in that segment right there was the fact of being open-minded to receive new people, right? Because I can relate to that. Like I said, connecting with fellow coaches. I still, this day, we meet at least once a month to catch up, and not just as coaches, but as women, right? Yeah, we talk about business things, you talk about things of that nature, but it is not about that for us. But building that community, but also in my community here, I have realigned and built a tribe of phenomenal women that actually took me out to lunch, just we recorded this, my birthday was just a few days ago. They took me out to lunch, treated me, that anything I needed, got me my Dunkin' Donut cards, like they know me, you know what I'm saying? And some of these women are personal based, but some of them are other business women. And to be able to have that meant so much to me. And being vulnerable, I didn't have that. I was always the person that did for everybody else. So for them to be able to extend that to me and be like, just come, girl, don't worry about it, man, that's not normal for me. But I received it. You know what I'm saying? So it's so important for us to realize as entrepreneurs that you do have to find your tribe. Nobody's telling you gotta abandon, those that have been rocking with you or whatever else, but you have to find your tribe. And it's gonna evolve some trial and error. Because I know it is for me. I don't know about you, but it definitely evolves some trial and error for me. Yes. Absolutely. But when it comes to like behavior, because hey, you are definitely an OG in entrepreneurship, right? So like I really want to talk about that. Like what gave you the ambition to like continue? Because as women and then entrepreneurs, we know that there are many times where we're like, you know what, forget it, I'm done. I know I have had those moments, but what gives you the ambition to like keep on and to continue on our cause you?
Oh, that's a good question. So what has kept me going, actually is if I don't work, I don't eat.
Mm.
So I think that's the first thing, right? Of course, I used to teach 5th and 6th grade, and go back into education, but teaching and being an entrepreneur, the type of lifestyle that I have, I couldn't have that being an educator. And so one of my words and my mantras, that I started one of the words was big that was big for me when I started my being an entrepreneur was flexibility. So have my parents are a little bit older than my friend's parents. And so I just wanted to have flexibility because if my parents need anything, that I had the time and my schedule to be flexible. And so that's something that I also preach to my clients. Flexibility. We all are human. And so if it's cancellation, like understand you can't be an individual cancel like somebody cancel, but we're all humans. And so through that, I've really just learned myself like how to be flexible. Of course, yes, when I used to grind at the beginning, like I would work differently. Um, there was flexibility in my day and I can move things, but flexibility was something I live by. And for me, what keeps me going is hearing my clients' stories of victory, hearing my clients, knowing what they came in, their stories and how they felt, and when they come back or when we finish up their treatment, that's what keeps me going because I I walk with them on their journey, and so that helps me. And then I go, I go to get trainings and all that stuff, and I love bringing like new things back.
Yes.
And
With me.
and even implementing that into my life in a personal space. And so it's just seeing their growth, but seeing my growth and being able to be like, oh, I helped them help themselves. And that's what keeps me going and growing. And there's times that I have burnout, right? Because it's real. And that's when I learn more of like, well, what am I giving? What am I giving too much? How do I scale? Like, what does that look like? Like, I got an assistant. And so I get to focus on these things or just my work, doing the admin stuff. So yeah, it's just being able to see those people's faces, and just being able to explore. Yeah.
I love that. I think I'm right there too because I actually recently hired an assistant as well. Not only just for the virtual side, but also the in person because I do have a brick and mortar here in Peoria. So I actually needed that maintained as well. And to be able to say, hey, I need you here when I'm not available to be here, like right now I'm recording, but my brick and mortar is open for walk-in services. So it's like I needed that here. So I think just being able to embrace that and say, okay, I'm getting that support because burnout is real. I think like man, you have experienced it, being in the game for as long as you have, we probably experienced it multiple times, but it involves really having to like reroute, restructure. Okay, let's realign, let's refocus. But also something that you said, she is a personal side of things. you have to make sure that your personal side is still in alignment with whatever it is that you're doing as a entrepreneur, business owner, whatever it is that you're offering. I find that a lot of times that a lot of women are not in alignment. They are doing something clearly because they see somebody else doing it. And then they get run down and they get frustrated and mad so fast. That's because it's not within your purpose
Right.
to really figure that out. So that's, where I come in too to help women do that, because when I say entrepreneurial growth, people think that I'm saying, no, let's grow your business to six figures. Although we can get to that, but you got to make sure that the personal and the entrepreneurial side are in alignment
Right.
for you to start. And that, when I say startup entrepreneurial growth, that's what I mean. Because if you got all this habit going on over here and you frustrated and mad and toxic over here, the personal side, I don't think that's not going to roll over for your being. Because it is. You know what I'm saying? So just being mindful of that is super important. So I love that let them know that the personal side matters more importantly than the entrepreneur side. Because if your personality together says, I know you don't feel your best when you talk to the clients, when you know what I'm saying, putting, policies together and stuff like that, you don't feel like you don't feel like doing it.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. So COVID, I transitioned more to telehealth and to virtual. And I decreased my caseload, actually. And the energy from virtual is totally different from in person. And my gauge for when I'm doing virtual, if I'm not at an 85%, then I do communicate to my clients, I'm going to have to cancel my session. Maybe if I'm virtual and I'm not at the 85%, then I'm no good. If I'm face to face, it's a little bit different. And so as I communicate that to them, I need them to communicate that to me. And sometimes they'll get on and I'll say, hey, what do you need from me in this moment? Because you may not be okay. We don't have to do this session. We can reschedule for another time. And so I just really practice what I preach. You'll never catch me say, hey, do this. And then you might turn around and ask them the question and I don't do it myself. I'm not that. And so it's interesting, like I just took a vacation to the south of France. And I usually will like book clients up, right? Like right up to the day of my trip. And then I usually will have clients right after. And I didn't do that this time. And that was such a victory. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this feels good. And for the first time, I have to say, I slowly worked myself into the week. And it was powerful and it was wonderful. It was delicious. It was just like, oh, fine. Like, Marsha, you don't have to be Superwoman. I like slowly walked back into, just working. And I felt good. Like I didn't even work in the past. And it just, I can see myself completing tasks and being more creative because I knew that I needed to show up for myself first.
Come on, sis. First of all, I'm those friends. Hey, you definitely had to eat back into that, because I know that wasn't easy until you come back. Like, oh, I know some.
Oh, it was. And I'm studying French for like 3.5 years. Like I didn't even really. So it was amazing. It was really amazing.
And that's what's up. Like you said, going back to what you said, the flexibility to be able to do that. You gotta have to put in the PTO and say, oh, I hope I get it, and they say now the word PTO compared to others, because I ain't coming in reverse. But yeah, so I think that that's dope. And definitely shout out to you for doing things different this time, and that's super important. So if they don't hide something, just I'm proud of you for that too. I mean, that means a lot, But also that's going to help you with regard to everything else, because you're going to be able to tell that story to your client and they're going to implement that. I gradually went things this time instead of saying, all right, everybody get back because of this, hey, people have to definitely benefit from that. So I'm super proud of you. Thank you. Absolutely. So I always ask my guests to share a thrill and a spill from their entrepreneur journey. Now, you pretty extensive one. So, you got one or two that you want to share, but we would love to hear a thrill when it comes to the business side of things.
A thrill. Define your thrill. Like, give me
Well, no, a thrill could be like a celebratory moment. It could be, something that ranges that you are very, very happy about, when it comes to your business. It could be, something from me shifting or, just something like that. I feel like definite guarantee.
Okay. Okay. So a thrill for me, so I during COVID, I I experienced something very, how do I put it? It was, I had checked off the boxes. So I was like, oh, I got my house, I got this, I got that. And then I experienced a life altering moment. And to the point that I was like, oh, okay, well, I thought I was going to check this box, right? I thought I was going to be a mom, and that didn't happen. And I pivoted, and I literally had traveled out the country, and I've always wanted to move out the country. And I was like, well, I can't check this box. And it was fine. I came to I was coming to terms with it. So literally I came back home. It was the end of July. I came back home and I put my house on the market, and I sold my house. It was literally like the end of July, and my house was clear the the middle of August, and it got put on the market the second week of September. And I moved away from the city to a rural area. My office is still up in it's like 4.5 hours from where I'm at. And I decided to live for me, and I am living now more than I ever, like, this is living for me. So I'm in a rural area. I'm creating a healing space for people to come and find respite and retreat. But I've been able to get the respite and retreat. And so I am on my family's land, and there's like family cemeteries, like 3 out of 4 family cemeteries are within like walking distance. And I've been able to upload and download things that from my family, my ancestors, that I haven't been able to do before, that I've been able to get, and that I've been able to step into me and my power that allow me to share with the world so they can get what they need, you know. And that is a thrill. I work differently, I show up differently. I can go walk in the grass and ground myself. I've stepped into my feminine in ways that, like, cooking and baking. I have a garden. I got to go try another time. I wasn't as successful as I wanted to be last season, but those things have equipped me to continue in my business. Before I was more feminine, like my masculine, my right side, which is I can go divide and conquer, but I'm able to tap into my feminine in ways that I couldn't before. That how I think it opens me up to another part of the world that I didn't exist. Like we talked previously, around like opening up to be able to be vulnerable, to have a tribe, right? Being able to be mothered, or being able to be like, I don't have to be the one to give all the time somebody gives me. And so that's been amazing. And so that is a thrill for my business, where I now have the space to be like, hey, what do I want, and why do I want this? What do I want to do? And like being able to hear and listen, uh, and just be in solitude. And so that has been real. Like, I know everybody can't do a major pivot like that, but I think the fear in moving, or that pivot, I think it's just been the fear. Like after I got over it, I was like, I had to really sit with, what's the most permanent thing in this all? And it was the move. It was the selling of my house. Whoa. But then what it did was it freed up debt, and then I could show up differently in my business. And if I didn't do that, I think that I would have burn out like so much more. And so I say to people, like, go try, go step out there. I went to the South of France by myself. I've traveled throughout the world, but usually I have like one of my girlfriends, or there's somebody that I know on the other end. But I did it by myself to be able to immerse myself in another language. And so fear fear is an illusion. And so it's like, step out there, because you think that you're gonna fail, but failure is actually a success.
It is. Come on. Come on.
So if you're like, oh, but this, but that, and I just don't know what you'll get. I started a business with 3 other people in China, And there was so much that I got out of it. It wasn't a success in terms of a successful business, but I learned so much that I wouldn't have gotten it if I didn't go. And so I just say, like, if you're fearful, don't let fear keep you still. You can still walk forward and be fearful, but just let yourself keep going towards.
Allow, I mean, I love it. And girl, that was powerful because a lot of people will tend to let fear just hold them back. That's probably the number one conversation that I hear when I'm, either having complimentary chats with women or just having those conversations. Fear is probably the number one thing that stalls them from doing anything. Like, and it's going to be a regardless. And I pretty much just tell them like that is an emotion. It's an action that is going to be there regardless. So either you're going to allow it to stall you and then still question and be like, what if, or you're going to go ahead and walk in that, because I did not know what I was going to be doing in 2020 when I decided to start coaching. And I always started coaching part-time until I was let go from my job in November 2020. So that fear came into play again, like, do I want to walk in this purpose full time, or am I going to just go ahead and find me another job? Well, I had to walk through that fear.
Right.
And I won't tell anybody that it's easy, but it's necessary.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's necessary regardless. So just being able to walk through that regardless, because it's going to be a regardless, y'all. We're going to have these emotions that we going to feel how we feel, but here we go. No. So just being intentional in that. So, with the thrill comes a skill. I think you might have shared a few throughout the episode, but I just would love to hear like a short skill that was like a lesson for you, maybe.
Yeah. Let's see.
I know when I say lesson, you're like, oh, girl, wait.
Oh, yeah. So when I first started, right, I needed to eat, right? I needed to, it's not that I was, I had money. I was strategic about going into business for myself, and there was things I needed to do. Like, a skill was, I wanted to build my practice. And so I was accepting any type of clients, and I didn't have a screening process. I didn't have like a consultation process. And I really attracted at the beginning of my practice clients that I shouldn't have been working with. And then when I attracted those type of clients that I shouldn't have been working with, work was difficult. I used to look down my left list of like, who am I seeing today? How many clients am I having? And there used to be dread. And the lesson for me was, hey, Marsha, you don't have to take everybody. You can say no. You have the ability. And for me, it was like not trusting that I could say, like not knowing that there was power in my no, and thinking that I had to take on everybody because I felt like, well, at least they're showing up for counseling.
Right.
And so when I learned to say no, then I had clients in my practice that I wanted to work with, that there was hardly any dread of, oh no, I didn't want to work with this person. And so once I just learned that, but for a while it was like, oh, I had to have this person and this is what they need. And I had to come to the table and be like, look, I'm not a good therapist for you. Like I'm practicing out of my scope. And so a lot of times I will sit when I have a consultation, I will sit with people and I'll sit with myself afterwards and just say, do I have the bandwidth, the capacity to work with this person?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, love that you say that. Like, and I think that it goes across the board when it comes to entrepreneurship, because everybody has to understand you all have an audience. You all have a target that you're trying to reach. Yes, when we first start, we want to help everybody. We want to give everybody. We want to support everybody. But if you're wanting to do anything for the long term, you can't. And it's just that simple. You know what I'm saying? So like really coming into that, because I was like, that I want to help every woman in the world and still have that mindset. However, with the business side of things, I'm strategic on who I am marketing to and who my audience is. Now, you can listen to every podcast in the world. You can listen to me on social media, follow my reels, and all of that. But I might not be a good fit for you to help you from a coaching or entrepreneurial startup perspective because a lot of times, a lot of them don't want to make those kind of changes and feel like we want to have that control. So, being able to identify that, although it was a spill, it turned into a career because it also helped to give it a business. So, I like that. So, as we get ready to close out here, what would be some motivational tips, strategies, or insight that you would want to offer our listeners?
Yeah, I think one thing that is really important is check your subscriptions. Check what you're subscribing to. So it's really important to pay attention to what you're eating, what you're listening to, what you're watching, what you're subscribing to. And so if you check the different subscriptions that you're subscribed to, then you can really figure out what's feeding your mind, what's feeding your direction, and what's feeding you. And sometimes it's okay. Like when I think about it, it's okay to consume certain things, but if you're not understanding what is going into your subconscious, that is directing your direction in life, personally or professionally, then you don't really have control of your destination. So really check your subscriptions. And I'm not saying that subscribing to something, reality television, is bad, for example, but be mindful and intentional of what you're subscribing to. So if there's a place that you're trying to go and that you say you want to make $1 million, but you're subscribed to something that doesn't celebrate that or that doesn't feed, then what are the odds that you're going to get there at the time that you want to get to the destination? You be mindful of what your subscriptions are, and also subscribe to yourself. Like, don't put money into you, invest time and things into you and your well-being, because then it's going to pay off. So just be mindful of your subscriptions, check what you're subscribing to, and you might have to switch them out and maybe have conversations with other people that are further ahead and see what they're subscribing to. And then maybe you might want to inquire and maybe get a subscription to that. So
Y'all heard what she said. Y'all heard what she said, damn it. Check your subscriptions, okay? Hey, please, Marsha, let them know where they can find you at, sis. And what you got coming up? What's upcoming? What's got going on?
So they can find me at Marsha Listens on YouTube, marcialistens.com, my website, Marsha Listens on Instagram. I'm also on LinkedIn, Marsha Evans, LPC. What I got going on right now is actually, I'm in my cocoon right now. I'm in my cocoon, and I am just like reintegrating these things that I've left out for a little bit, and I'm just like really putting them back into me. And so right now I'm just I do sound healing, so I do sound baths. So I'm really pushing that more because there's so much healing in sound. So we don't always have to do talk therapy. And so I'm doing like sound meditation Mondays on my YouTube, which is pretty dope, and just introducing that and everything. And so right now it's really like, how can I share with people? Doesn't have to be talk, but how you can get some healing and some peace in the midst of sound. And so that's where I'm at right now. And then I'm just kind of stepping into that and just giving the world that right now. But yeah.
I love it, sis. I love it. And y'all know I'm going to make sure that those links are in the podcast note. So make sure that once you hear this, you will subscribe to Marsha Listens on YouTube and maybe follow her on social media. Sis, I so appreciate you being here today. With everything, your energy is so dope. I love everything that you are doing. Continue to grow, pivot, and just continue being your authentic self, because I fucking love it. So
I did it for having me. I enjoyed the first time we talked. Space.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, y'all. We all know where y'all can find me. If you have not, by the time you listen to this episode, then make sure you are favoriting, liking, subscribing, and actually have a little feedback. What did you think of this episode? Definitely chime in the comments and your email at info@upgradedlicense.life. Otherwise, y'all, stay dope. Listen, the entrepreneur journey is not a race, okay? This is a journey. It is a journey that is necessary, especially if you are wanting to build your legacy. So I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Stay dope, baby. Till next time.